On the night of August 17th, 2024, in Kharagpur, Pakistan, a girl suddenly ran out of her house, screaming, as she had no idea what was happening to her family. Everyone in her house was vomiting uncontrollably, and some had collapsed to the floor. Panicked, she rushed outside, crying for help from the villagers, saying, "I don't know what's happening to my family. They just ate, and now some are lying on the ground, while others are continuously vomiting." As the situation inside worsened, family members who were still vomiting staggered outside. The girl quickly gathered the neighbors, who came to help and immediately called an ambulance. When the ambulance arrived, the affected family members were rushed to the hospital. Meanwhile, the villagers speculated that the family might have suffered from food poisoning after dinner and would recover by morning. However, shortly after this incident, shocking news spread through the village. It was revealed that Gulmihar and her family had been invited to dinner by Gulbakwali Bek, her brother. Gulmihar, along with her husband Ajgar, their son Shahzada, and their other son Mohammed Bakish, had gone to Gulbakwali Bek's house. There, Gulbakwali Bek's family, including his son Dildar, his brother-in-law Manzoor, his two daughters, Khatun and Shahista, and his wife, Gulja, were present as well. Ajgar's family arrived and joined them for dinner. Shahista, Gulbakwali Bek's daughter, served food to everyone, and they all sat down to eat. The entire family was eating together when, shortly after finishing their meal, many of them started vomiting. Some hadn't even finished their food when they, too, began throwing up. All the affected individuals were rushed to the hospital with the help of the villagers. However, shortly after reaching the hospital, news emerged that all 13 members of the family had passed away. Initially, it was believed the deaths were caused by food poisoning from the meal they had consumed that night. Following this tragedy, the villagers buried the deceased. When the police were informed, they arrived at the village and began their investigation. The villagers recounted the events, saying that the family had fallen ill and was taken to the hospital, where they died due to suspected food poisoning. The police requested to perform autopsies, but the villagers resisted, citing that the deceased had already been buried, and they didn't want their bodies disturbed. After much negotiation, the villagers agreed to hand over 2 bodies for examination. The autopsies revealed that the deceased had ingested poison commonly used as an herbicide in fields. This prompted the police to dig deeper. They recovered all the leftover food from the family's home, including bread and vegetables, and sent everything to a forensic lab for analysis. The results showed that the poison had been present in a small piece of bread, the only remaining portion, as the rest had already been consumed. This bread was identified as the source of the poison. As the investigation continued, the police uncovered that the entire family's death might have been intentional. This tragedy involved 2 families that lived as one, but were closely related. 2 members survived, a girl from one family and a boy from the other. The police called in these survivors for questioning. The boy, Amir Bakish, explained that he was away for work during the incident, which is why he didn't eat the poisoned food. Villagers also confirmed that he wasn't present even during his family's funeral. The girl, Shahista, said she was serving food to her family and had planned to eat later, which saved her life. The police then shifted their focus to uncovering the motive and the origin of the poison. Through their investigation, it was revealed that there was tension within the families, despite being closely related. Shahista and Amir Bakish were cousins, but family disputes had arisen when Shahista's marriage was arranged elsewhere, despite her love for Amir. Shahista had confessed her feelings to her family, but this led to conflicts and escalated tensions. As the police continued to question villagers and piece together events, it became apparent that the deaths were deliberate and related to these familial conflicts. The exact individual responsible and the motives behind introducing poison into the food remained under investigation. The wedding will take place where they have already decided. On the other hand, Amir Bak, the son of Ajgar, deeply loved her. The villagers were explaining all these things to the police officers. Later, they revealed that the two were separated. At present, no one knows what is going on between them. When the police learned about the situation, they arrested Shahista and began questioning her. Meanwhile, Amir Bak was also taken into custody. They were interrogated separately, with each being asked questions individually. Amir Bak answered every question the police asked him with precision, but Shaista seemed a bit confused. At times, she would say one thing and then another. Eventually, when the police put pressure on her, Shaista started explaining everything in detail. Shaista confessed that she deeply loved her cousin, Amir Bak, but her family had arranged her marriage elsewhere. She did not want to marry anyone but Amir Bak. Despite her efforts to convince her family, they refused. Eventually, she told Amir Bak that her family had completely denied their union. Amir Bak's family, on the other hand, was not entirely opposed to Shaista's parents, but also did not agree to the marriage. One day, Amir Bak proposed a solution to Shaista. He handed her a small bottle and instructed her to mix its contents into the food when serving it at dinner. He told her to make sure everyone ate it except her. Shaista, believing that this might be some sort of magical potion prepared by a spiritual healer, complied without realizing it was poison. She also didn't know that her uncle Ajgur was going to be present at the dinner. Shaista prepared the food and served it to everyone, including her uncle. Meanwhile, Amir Bak had left the house and warned his family, including his father and brothers, not to attend the dinner. However, Ajgur ignored his son's warning, believing that Amir Bak was being overly controlling. He insisted on going to the dinner with the entire family. As a result, Ajgur and his entire family consumed the poisoned food and lost their lives. Amir Bak had intended to eliminate Shaista's family, who opposed the marriage, but instead, his own family also fell victim. When the police discovered these events, they arrested both Shaista and Amir Bak. They were presented in court, and a case is still ongoing against them. What do you think about this case where love between a brother and sister cousins led to the brutal killing of their entire families? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Stories like these have been surfacing lately, with people killing their families or others over disputes. Such acts have sadly become alarmingly common. This was the story of Pakistan. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below.